Hello, folks. Welcome to another episode of Grievances, the Star Citizen Report, coming to you every other Saturday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. They're on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/grievance.com. It is February 20th tonight, and hope you all see you all again also at our next show on March 5th. And now here is your cast for tonight. Hi, and guess what? Just me tonight. I'm flying solo. So my name's Thamin. I've been hosting and producing the show for now, I think it's about 2.5 years. Focus on the Star Citizen Report. Tonight, I'm on my own, so maybe things will go a little quick. But just to give everybody kind of an update and a rundown on what we're going over tonight. We're going to be talking a bit about the recent backer discount sale just prior to Squadron 42 Persistent Universe split, at least in pricing, and discuss that pricing itself. They put an interesting disclaimer out, which we'll come up with in a moment. Um, Congratulations, subscribers. They got their latest flare for February, which is a model of a Mustang Beta to be displayed in their hangar. And we're also going to have some of the highlights from around the verse and 10 for the developers. A lot of interesting things were brought up and scaled up tonight. So I'm just going to kind of run down the list and go over. And I am looking for folks in the crowd now in the live channel here on Twitch to tell us a bit about what you think about this split as I'm going to kind of discuss this here. So, those who don't know, it was back just this past week on Valentine's Day. They finally split the pricing of Squadron 42 and the Persistent Universe of Star Citizen. They had said in the past that they were going to split things up, and now now it's happened. Now, even for any newcomers into the game, they have to buy the packages separately. So if you got in early, and then you got in on part of the deals, you got both games for the low price of one. So, and I'll go into one thing they did for backers on Valentine's Day first. They had a rather funny disclaimer out there. They offered a little backer discount sale with an Aurora package for $40, and they added a funny disclaimer to the image. Now, I realize this may be a little hard to read here, so I'm going to read this off. Cloud Imperium Games assumes no responsibility for any impact on your relationship that might occur should you decide to gift your significant other an Aurora MR package instead of, say, flowers and candy. That's not to say it's a terrible idea all around, as there certainly are plenty of people who will appreciate bare knuckle multiplayer space combat in an immersive multiplayer universe and epic cinematic storytelling. Just use common sense on this one. Maybe err on the side of buying a pillow that has I love you with a picture of a bear embroidered on it instead of the Aurora MR, the latest hard flying starter ship from Roberts Space Industries' legendary line of sturdy spacecraft. I love that. So anyways, this gave our backers also a kind of a last chance discount before these games became separate entities. Now, I got to thank Novatech here for passing along a frequently asked questions about this split. Uh, Reminder, it does not affect any backers and packages that were prior to February 14th. So if you backed way back when, you have both games. All right. And they had said in the past, like I say, the plan was that earlier backers would get a lower price on Star Citizen than those that backed later, gradually increasing the price and then split up various modules for the a la carte options. That's how Chris Roberts termed it. So this gave backers who joined the project early on and helped it get off the ground an advantage, say a discount. And for later ones, they can buy separate parts and choose whether they just want the multiplayer universe or the Squadron 42 campaign. But I'm glad I got in early on this one. So And they are saying with the package split, they're accomplishing this objective without increasing the amount of money needed to join the persistent universe. So sounds like they're pretty much saying that that will help them not have to do any other fees or anything later on. Star Citizen and Squadron 42 are part of the same game universe. They are still functionally connected. So you will access Squadron 42 through the same game client, and your performance in Squadron 42 will have an impact on your career in the persistent universe. So they haven't gone back and changed anything on that. One can affect the other. Price. Currently, it had been 45. Well, it's still now $45 for either game, and the plan will be to add on the other. It will be an extra $15 later, and they said that's subject to change. So, pretty much, kind of when I look at that here, it's kind of along the lines where I thought, most games these days are $60. If you get a $45, hey, you're getting in on 2 games. You're getting a deal. You're getting an Aurora, which I consider more a personal car transport than anything else. Now it's looking like an extra $15 later for $60. You're getting 2 big games. Even though that's more in line with what people pay. I know there are a lot of people up there that are upset about the whole idea. Upset about. RSI, if this is just again money grabbing, and I'm welcoming comments. I'm welcoming whatever folks are want to say in the channel about this and add to it. The important part, they did say 2.2 is almost here, but they weren't going to give an actual time frame on it, and that's important to add to this discussion because they did say that it will feature the dedicated separate packages. So right now, players can just see Star Citizen. But once 2.2 goes live, they'll be able to see the Squadron 42 packages as separate. All right. And I'm going to type something in here. So like I say, I welcome any viewers' questions about that. Like I say, I know there are, I haven't put too much a bad light on it, but I know there's a lot of people that have been upset about the change, upset about the money. We've been waiting and we've been, eager to see a game too. So I don't mind folks who want to kind of get those comments out there. And pardon my loud typing fingers. All right. So with that, I'm going to go on to some of the next things here. Let's cover some of the things that they did let us in on around the verse. They did say as far as they're optimizing several ships at this point. The Cutlass, the Scythe, the Gladiator, the Gladius. They've also said they're working hard on the Reliance Scouts thrusters. The important thing I see, though, they're working on a new shield design and components. It sounds like the actual shield designs are getting an overhaul to kind of bring the game up to a little better par as far as a little better optimized, a little better up to what it should be for the game to be kind of running smoothly. So expect to see some changes to the shields and maybe a new design piece on that in the near future. Now they're also saying that they're planning for another motion capture shoot, and part of that they're going to pick up some filming across several scenes. Some of it is persistent universe. They're going to be filming scenes. They're going to be used in Nyx, Thurston, and getting all those animation details. I thought it was pretty funny how they described them too, like filming drug deals gone wrong or right, whole prison scenes, scenes in a jail atmosphere, fixing scenes like in medical. I guess they were kind of complaining because some of the folks that did the acting for that were a little too over the top. Like you walk into medical and they're puking their guts out or writhing in agony. They want something a little toned down on that. And they're also going to be doing some more work on buying and selling, which also needs the remote storage in the hangar for that to go live and working properly. I'm going to show some video here too. I thought was interesting in this one. Got one person here actually going to take us for a wild ride. Now, I've played the game before, and people have told me that sometimes they get a little disoriented, the way things fly around. This guy was trying to turn that into an art form. Oh, nope, nope, sorry, wrong video. That one's later. This one, though, I'm going to show you something. So in this video, I don't know how well you can see it. He's aiming at one target in there, but coming from the right, coming close to your screen is a second Avenger. So he's shooting at one guy when a second one crosses in front of his path. And he actually blew up the second Avenger. I thought that was pretty funny that they offered in there. They also gave a good look, if I get down to it here, at several glitches that were in the game. Like this guy who's kind of straddling the constellation backwards. Little zombie thing going on as you can see on Port Alasar. This guy's stuck in a zombie pose. I think the other is trying to mimic it somehow. There was another one coming up here. This next one I thought was, it's funny, is probably not funny the individual. They had a surprise for the first individual that loaded the instance of the planet side that had buggies. They were lined up ready to get him as soon as he came in the door. So I kind of laughed. The guy who was on the receiving end of that probably wasn't laughing so much. Yeah, I love when they share these bugs so you kind of see what's going on behind the scenes. So just to go into more of the things that we kind of learned here, we know that they are looking at initial designs of a personnel manager, which they say is a Mobi app that's going to allow you to view your attire, store items on the body, and just check out your possessions. So that's part of the UI where, again, we're kind of a game feature where we're inside the world, affecting the world. Oh yes, Mr. Tippy Toes glitch here. I thought that one was pretty funny too. They're also working very hard to improve the party system to allow folks to play together and redesigning the holotable. A few other developers mentioned that was kind of a big thing on their list. All right. Another little footage I thought was pretty funny. We've had several cases where, we black out and who knows what's going on. This player shared their footage where they blacked out, and then when they come to, it's going to be too late. Hope you all enjoyed that little peek at things there. Yes, Flown Wolf, so much for no griefing. Yes, I know. We have film of the developers doing it right there. All right. So also they did mention, they're still focusing, Frankfurt is focusing on the artificial intelligence and the conversation system that will be in Squadron 42 and the Persistent Universe. So we have those to look forward to as well. All right. Next thing here. Working on additional Caterpillar concepts. Now we know we've got, I'm always trying to keep an ear out for the Caterpillar. I know Steelheart, that's his baby right there. Fortunately, they didn't say much other than that, just that they are working on the concepts. So I expect that will be the next one that we see some concept images for. Other than that, they already have some updates to persistence and shopping. Those are going hand in hand. They have to have persistence for shopping to work. They are working on the pricing formula as well for shopping. They say that they're going to have clothing and Kasaba outlets soon, but they're still determined what exactly is going to be stocked, what variants it have, and how the prices will work. So there's that balance going on, and I've heard on both Around the Verses references to getting that persistence down, getting that back end to the inventory. So hopefully that's something we're going to be here seeing pretty soon. Chris and Aaron had a meeting that pretty much set their schedule for 2016. Now, granted, there was a lot of this that was discussed that was very general, and I wish I had more specific stuff to pull out of it. It's kind of like they were touching on everything. It would be hard to say what they didn't discuss. But they did have this quote. They said, the AI in this game is pretty thick, and we're kind of pushing boundaries for interactions. How you can play with them, how they can interact positively and negatively. So I thought that was at least, worth getting and grabbing out there. They also kind of dangled in front of us that they were working on the Asperia Prowler, and then that quickly got scrunched. There's like, nope, nope, it was put on hold because they're still trying to research and develop the Tevarin culture, and they need to figure out the race's style guides and design the Tevarins first before the ships. So the Asperia Prowler, which was a stealth boarding ship, that's still a little bit off here. And I don't know if I'm looking forward to cargo implementation. I'm looking to anything where it's probably going to be sad. I'm going to be probably right away. Ooh, I need this costume for my character. Ooh, I need these items for my ship. I can see my wallet may take a hit. Hopefully, I can hold off and wait for some of that stuff where it's in the game. All right. Mark Abent discussed the new tool they are building at CIG called the Data Forge. And I'm glad they've expressed a little bit more about this because this is one of the cool tools that I thought really does give a look at some of the new technology they're developing, because they've had to create a bunch of tools in-house. Now, the Data Forge is their answer for solving all of their saved data through XMLs. They say normally XMLs tend to get parsed and spread out every which way through the engine. And so, somebody can, it can be very error prone. You modify one and it can break others over here, across the board, and then everyone's trying to figure out what the heck happened. So they said this centralizes it, and that's just kind of really important for them to develop. They've also saying this becomes even more important because different guys are working on the same project, globally, different ones are working on the same project. And the game is already a much bigger scope than CryEngine was designed to accommodate. I've kind of wondered in the, sorry, reading the live chat here. I've kind of wondered, Lone Wolf, you shook my concentration. So I kind of wondered why, it's like, boy, maybe it might have been better if they designed their own game engine. But then again, we'd probably be waiting longer for the game. So, all right. So let me show you. I've got some more video to show you. I thought this stuff was pretty cool. This is the one I started to actually explain earlier, where they have a racer spinning madly. And I tell you, if my screen ever looks like this, I can kind of see why people have a hard time keeping track of anything I might be doing dogfighting. And look at this guy, to be spinning and hitting those gates like that for the race course. Nah, maybe we should save that for his victory lap. All right, and let me go forward just a little bit. Now I'm going to show you a ship here that, even though it says Aegis and that, this was part of a class in ship design. It was actually held by one of the people involved in Star Citizen. So a lot of times, let me pause it there. So this ship isn't in Star Citizen, but this class was decided to design a single-seat fighter similar to the Gladius. They kind of developed it along the Aegis style guidelines, and it was part of a 10-week class, and there was a lot of first-timers in this that had never designed it before. So think, how cool is that? You go to a 3D artwork design course, and all of a sudden you're making a ship that looks this good and looks like you could be a part of Star Citizen, even though right now they're saying, no, this isn't in the game. But a part of me thinks they could push for it. Why not? Took the ship that far. And certainly is a cool looking ship. I admit for all of us, there's a lot of cool ships in the game. So yes, it'd be hard to pick a favorite, but this one does got some nice sleek lines in that. Gladius style. I wouldn't mind trying to fly that thing. All right, I'm going to go forward to their little sneak peek. So we get a look at the pilot chair for the MISC Reliant. And as folks remember, because you don't see the ship here, that's the one that can have both the horizontal and vertical wingspan. Two-person one, so you can have one chair actually revolving over the other chair as well. So we finally have kind of a cool look at how that might look. Notice the little bubble display, so to speak, the radar kind of above the at the top of the line of sight there for the pilot. Cool. And that was the ship. I actually owned one of those, although I gave it out. I actually kind of sent it off to a charity, so I don't have that ship anymore, even though it's a pretty cool one. So anyways, get a little glance at what that pilot chair is going to look like. All right. So folks, still got a little more now. So we're going to move on to the last part of the show today, the 10 for the developers. They brought up a lot of things. I thought a lot of good questions, a lot of things I like to explore there. So I'll go down the questions quick. Somebody asked about alien armor refitted for human use, and they just said it's probably not going to happen. The Vanduul are ridiculously oversized. They're like 10 feet tall. So you generally can't retrofit them. However, they did say there might be some armor crafted that is inspired by alien design. They went on the next thing as part of the next one, as they talked about character width and height. They kind of stated that humans are exactly 183 centimeters tall. No variant there. And the reason they said that is they said CryoEngine used to have a fat editor which had meshes for the different thicknesses, but they ended up using the vertex colors for that. Again, this is technical. I don't pretend to understand all of it either. For other things, other meshes on the character. So even though they say there'll be some degree of change, basically the main fat slider, I suppose, got used for something else. Now, ladder climb animations. Okay, so a lot of people were kind of complaining about the climbing the ladders to their ship and how long it took. They wondered, can't we just run right up there? And they did share with us that in the first-person shooter, you can control how you go up and down the ladder. That's already in there. But they said ship ladders are kind of a different implementation that is basically related to the ship's entry and exit. So real-world ladders that's already in the first-person shooter already has more freedom, even though we just haven't been able to see those yet. It's already there. They're also working on some different speeds at which you can use ladders, like somewhat a relaxed walk, a default pace, and then emergency ones where you kind of clear 3/4 of the ladder. And then I thought it was funny and sad. They had a storied release about that because they had a kind of a full-size Avenger setup built on the motion capture set, and an actor jumped out of the Avenger for kind of a fast descent type thing, but he missed the landing, and his ankle ended up needing a few weeks recovery that he was out of work for. So a little body sacrifice behind the scenes to bring us the game. They've also talked again a little more about, because someone asked about the balance between first and third person. They said it's a problem getting a realistic third person because it can make the first person view real shaky. But again, they iterated, they start with the third person view and they isolate the important parts and smooth it out to the first perspective. And again, it's like everything about this, the cover animations, anything they do with moving the weapons. None of the shooters out there are essentially doing the work they're doing to match this first and third person. So Star Citizen is unique in that regards. They said there's nothing they could really compare it to. Crytek had tried for years to get that right in Crisis 2 and never happened. So, um, on to similar ones there. They were talking about character animation changes post injury. So they said, yes, leg shots, you're going to see limps. Arms, you're going to pull it up protectively to the chest. And I thought this was another funny motion cap thing. A motion cap actor reportedly did a really awesome one-handed reload of a Glock, and they got that in there. So, so I guess if your arm's injured and you're trying to reload with one hand, they got a motion capture actor that has already made that possible for us. Yay! Let's see. Other than that, they did say, there's challenges with limping. The motion capture actually threw things at the actor's legs to try to get some of the scenes, some of the motions that they wanted. Melee combat. They said a little about that. They did say they want you to have freedom. They don't want to feel like you're trapped in some scripted movement. They want jabs, parries, they want fluidity so that it can react fast. So, again, I think that'll be, again, another thing to look forward to. We kind of covered it. The developers were asked what process they would want to change the most given the resources. One picked the holo table, the other picked the party system. And we know that both of those are getting an overhaul for some improvement. They stressed again effective bug reporting. They want people to be concise and clear of every step, but also sometimes events right before the step, which can make a difference. It helps them find similarities. So use the issue council for this. They said, yes, there are a certain lot of issues that may have already be in their database, internal testing. And especially as issues tend to rise toward the top, as fans are running into them, they take priority. So the fan base does have an active say too in how they, I think, pretty much where their priorities are on some of these. Folks asked how they can support tests better. They reiterated not to try anything that might be griefing. They said ask players. It's like, ask other players, hey, who wants to try something crazy today? And they said generally you're going to get volunteers. They prefer this planned chaos over just random havoc. And they've said, the other thing is get in there and fly. The more folks that get in and fly the universe gives them data in order to check their system and get returns. Just a few more questions here. Again, thank you all for joining me tonight. Here with me being shorthanded and flying solo. Okay. People talked about when they decide to no longer retest an old bug, and they did say they always focus focus on recent code changes and elements that can be affected by that code change. They said landing gear issues, they tend to always break. But they say if something else hasn't been changed for several builds, they're not getting reports, then they're just not focusing there. They were asked as far as their plans for themselves in the persistent universe as a gamer. Randy Vasquez said he wanted to be a mercenary and pirate and have the hilarious fun of surviving on the black market. But he said, he also has an affinity for the mining and trading, like when he played EVE Online. But I thought the other was fun. The other developer was like, his plans were solely to hunt down Randy Vasquez and kill him. He just wants to cut down his coworkers. He wants to be the bounty hunter or information broker that helps go after either his fellow Cloud Imperium Games members or gets money from folks on the side doing that because QA tester pay isn't all that great. I thought that was funny. Now, production goals for this year. Basically, they're wanting to push ships on a better timetable, get them out the pipeline. They said each ship is like its own special snowflake, and they go back to mentioning the shields, but basically, it's just trying to get that process of putting ships through the system quicker. And I can believe it. I mean, they've got a lot to cover. I mean, I don't know how much has to be made for Squadron 42 to be ready to go, but of course, the persistent universe, that's a big playground with a lot of people playing in it. So it's kind of like, boy, how much of that stuff do the guy get ready? How long before release? Sadly, I know we're still going to be waiting a little while here yet. Folks, we are coming to the end of the show. Again, thank you for joining us. Catch us every other Saturday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Our next show is going to be on March 5th. And again, you can catch us right on this channel, twitch.tv/Grievance. You can catch our previous episodes discussing different aspects of Star Citizen on our YouTube channel, Grievance Gaming. You can also go to that YouTube channel to just check out lots of other informative videos on different games that we're playing. I know right now I am not surprised, kind of actually a slow crowd in the live channel because you've got Black Desert Online has its one of its rounds of beta right now. You got the Division doing an open beta right now. Two big games I'm looking forward to trying out as well. So a lot of Grievance folks in that. If you're not a member of Grievance, take a look at us. We're playing just about every popular MMO and first-person shooter out there. And we're a mature guild with 15 years, been around, and we enforce no drama. So, I Obi-Wan, welcome for visiting. All right. Well, looking forward to seeing all of you in Star Citizen once it launches. I'm eagerly awaiting the latest news. We know we're going to see Squadron 42 before the end of the year. Definitely cannot wait to see that happen and check that out. So, thank you all for joining me. Hope you all have a wonderful weekend.